I believe that I am live. Hurrah! Live on Facebook. Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm just going to set myself up over here. Make sure I can see everything, see your comments. Lynn Horde is live in the Joy Jam Collective. Great, right place. All right. If you are here and joining me, please say hello. Karen's here. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for often attending my trainings. I really appreciate it. And so thank you very much for being here. So if you are, Anne Pine is here as well. Hello, Anne. Great to have you here as well. So today we are here for how to reverse engineer your content. This essentially came to me because I know it's something that my clients need support with. I know people in general can often go, what do I actually write if I'm going to be preparing content for a launch? So that is the question that we are answering today. So if you are still joining, please do say hello. If you are watching the replay, please give me a hashtag replay so I can know that you have joined. Hello, Leslie Dixon's here with us. Hi, Leslie. So over the next 45 minutes, I'm going to be sharing a process that will make creating content for your next launch or your next sale of your program, if you're doing email campaigns, it's going to make it easier. So if you have been around me for a while, part of my gift is being able to break things down into tangible steps that allow you to recreate what I can do in my business and with copy, because as I always say, it is a skill that you can learn. So I'm glad that you are here today to learn this framework, and hopefully it'll make life easier for you in your business. So before I get started, I would love, I want this to be interactive. So I, of course, will be sharing a lot of information, but I would love to hear what resonates with you, which are the pieces that you get stuck with. If there's something that you'd like me to clarify, please let me know. I love answering your questions. It is my happy place. So if you have one, please do pop it into the chat. And if you're watching on replay, also do the same, because and tag me so that I know, and then I will come back and answer it then as well. And of course, it's more fun for me if we get to interact in some way. So if there's something that I say that does resonate, you can say hashtag resonate. You're like, yep, that's me. Give me a thumbs up. Anything that you feel feels good, so that I can keep a connection going with you as we're doing this training. Okay, so the process I'm going to be sharing with you, it is simple. It's actually a 4-step process. I had said 3 in my promotion copy. It is a simple process, but I'm not going to say that it's easy, because if it was, then there wouldn't be any need for this training, would there? And again, I say that because I know that this is something I help my clients with a lot, and it can be tricky. And I'm going to talk about later why it's tricky, the places where we get stuck, and what we need to know and understand in order to make that whole process easier for us. So if you're like, Lynn, I don't get this, like, it's really okay. This is a mindset shift that I am sharing with you today, because the process I'm sharing is not about you, it's about your ideal client. Hint, hint, already giving away some of the pieces we need to be very clear on in order to make this an easy process for us. So no matter where you are at right now with this process, if you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about, but you're like, yeah, I can find this really sticky. I still don't know what to write, even though I've tried some things. I'm really glad you're here today so we can work that through. Oh, thank you, Anne. I appreciate that. I don't feel as high vibe today, so I appreciate that I'm still coming across. My energy is good. Thank you. Okay, so again, if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat box. Okay, so I am going to be sharing this training out in other places. So for those who have not met me and you're watching this, I am Lynn Horde, Copy Queen, Intuitive Business Mentor, and I support soul-driven businesswomen who are up to big things in the world. They're often pioneers to create powerful messaging from their heart that feels really authentic and that attracts clients they adore working with so they can keep growing a business that they love. I've been working with words for about 20 years, first as a journalist, then as a copywriter and a copy coach in the last several years. And I combine that with my highly developed intuition that allows me to sense and feel and receive like words, ideas, and actions for my clients that support them to move into the next evolution of their message and their business. Hurrah! It's pretty cool. I like it. So today you're going to be seeing the very practical side of me, which does love, as I said, breaking things down and sharing them in frameworks that make creating content that is compelling, understandable, easy to access, and that reaches your ideal client. It supports you to do that so you can keep reaching those business goals with a powerful message. Okay. So I think that's covered off all of the lovely, what do you call it? Housekeeping. That's it. Just making sure I've got you guys over there. I can see the comments. All right. I can see me over there. Okay. So let's dive in. All right. How to reverse engineer your content. So I'm going to be walking you through 5 steps today, which are, and I haven't written the 5th one down, but I'm going to share them with you. So step 1, and I might be able to cut and paste the steps for you so you've got those. I don't think I've got step 5 though, but I'll put these in the chat box so that you've got these if you want to write them down anywhere. All right, so step 1 is to decide on your conversion event. Now, if you don't quite get the jargon, that's okay. I'm going to go into more depth in each of these steps. I'm just giving you the top line now so you know the journey we're going on together today. So step 1, decide on your conversion event. Step 2, outline the core 3 to 5 topics of your event. So again, we are, remember, reverse engineering. So we're starting in the future and working back to where we are now. So that was step 2, outline the core topics of the event, conversion event that you're going to be running or promoting. Step 3, identify the core problem your ideal client has with each of those topics. So that's number 3, identify the core problem your ideal client has with each of those topics that we talked about that we'll be referencing in step 2. Step 4, create content that speaks to those 3 to 5 core problems. That's a very broad step. Don't worry, we will get down into some detail. I won't leave you hanging. So that's step 4, create content that speaks to those 3 to 5 core problems that your ideal client experiences. And step 5, please hold caller, because I know there's a step 5, but I obviously hadn't written it in my other. And step 5 is turning your problems into headlines. So turning those problems into headlines is step 5, because that's one of the places we can often get stuck. Oh, no. Coming back, I'm coming back. Here we go. I'm putting in step 5 in the comments. All right, so give me a thumbs up if that has come through okay. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know it's all coming through. Okay. Just making sure. Thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Just want to make sure that everyone's hearing me and receiving. All right. So as I said, don't worry if all of those feel like they've just gone over your head. They are very conceptual steps, but I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of them with you now. Okay. Anyone? Thumbs up just to make sure you got that content. Is it all coming through okay? Yes, Dorothy's here. Hurrah! Thank you, Dorothy. All right. So let's dive into step one. So luckily the first couple of steps, pretty straightforward. So I would love for you to actually think of one thing as we go through these questions and let me know what your answers are. So as I share with you here about step one, have a think about what is your conversion event. So this is step one. We need to know, what are we reverse engineering from? What is that conversion event? By that, I mean the event you're running that is going to promote your program or package. So that could be a webinar, it could be a challenge, it could be a free training, it could be, what else can we do? It could be a workshop. So it could be a summit. It could be a whole range of things that are your chosen marketing strategy. So I personally use a live launch or a challenge model quite a lot. So I'm running Own the Throne again next month. That's going to be a conversion event that I am moving towards. And I'm going to use that today as a case study and an example for how to reverse engineer your content, because it's the most prominent thing in my life right now. So it makes it very easy for me to share. Okay. So what is an upcoming conversion event for you? Or you don't have to have set a date for it or anything like that. Just tell me, what is the next thing you would love to be promoting? Now, I'm talking about conversion events, but it could also be that you're like, I want to write an email campaign to sell my new program or package. That is also a perfect, sales funnel. You can absolutely do that as well. So we would still reverse engineer your sales emails into that program as well. I'd probably do it a little bit differently, but it still applies. So mostly I'm talking about what your conversion event could be. So as I said, webinar, challenge, workshop, masterclass, etc. But it could also be an email campaign into your program. So what is yours? What is the next thing you're hoping to launch? And how are you going to do that? What is your conversion event? So Karen, you're launching a course. Are you doing a conversion event, or are you just doing a straight email campaign to sell the course? I'd love to know which one you are doing. All right, everybody else, let me know, what is your conversion event, because that is step one. We need to know what we are going to be promoting. We need to have our end point in mind. Okay, because remember, and it's a really good visual. So I think hopefully you can see my elbows. So over here is where we want to get to. This is the event or the package or the program we want to promote. So that's over here. And we are basically dialing it all back to this elbow. That didn't work very well. So that we know from this starting point, what are we going to say in order to take them to that place and entice them to either join our conversion event or join our program. Okay, Karen, great. Probably a straight email campaign, because that's what I know I can do. Awesome. Dorothy said she's launching a course. Conversion event is a free workshop. Fabulous. Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Keep them coming. So that is step one. So step one is actually decide on your conversion event or whatever, or your promotion strategy into your package or program. Okay, so Leslie, promoting my online course. I want to do some creation stories about it. Beautiful. And hopefully today will give you a few more ideas for how else to promote as well, Leslie. All right, so moving on to step two. So step two is, when it comes to that event or that strategy that you're going to be using, what are the core topics you will speak to or teach about inside that event? So these core topics should deliver on the promise of your event or the core pillars of your program. The topics are often, the steps or pillars or principles that your client needs to understand or embody or take action on in order to get the outcome that they are seeking, aka the promise of your event or program. So for instance, I'll give you my example and then we'll talk about a couple of yours. So for instance, as I said, next month I am running Own the Throne. So that's my conversion event into a message that matters. So the promise of that program is in the title. I'm going to help you own the throne. So I know, it's a 5-day event. So it's 5 pillars or 5 core topics that I'll be teaching on across that time. And I have chosen those topics based on what I know my client needs to understand, embody, or take action on in order to achieve that outcome or that promise of owning the throne. So as an example, and they're very simple, we're just looking for kind of simple content topics here. So mine, as an example, I know my client needs to understand or experience message clarity, message confidence, message conviction, message consistency, and message congruence. Now, they won't mean anything to you, and that's okay. Those pieces are for me. So I understand the core principle or outcome I know I'm needing to get across in each of those days. So let's have a look at yours. What could yours be? And so we've got Anne's launching a one-to-one program. Haven't thought, but I'm going to say a workshop. Makes my knees shake. Yeah, that's right, Anne. Thanks for sharing. Dorothy. So Dorothy, if you want to put in there, or anybody, whatever it is. So whether you're writing an email campaign or you are running a workshop or you're going to do a challenge, what is 1 or 2 things that your client needs to understand, embody, or take action on in order to go from where they are to where they want to be, aka the promise? Now, I know you might not have all of this detail yet, so you can zoom out a little bit. So you might not have the title or the structure of the event that you're working towards. That's okay. Just think, generally speaking, if I was supporting somebody to X, whatever, and that X is whatever it is you help people to do, what's 1 or 2 core things they need to hear from you in order to move forward on their journey? So I'd love to hear what that brings up. Let me know. What are some core topics you might need to teach on? Okay, so for Dorothy said that homeopathic remedies are linked to symptoms. Great. Okay, so that's one thing that you would need to that'd be like one pillar of your teaching, Dorothy, that homeopathic remedies are linked to symptoms. Great. So that's an understanding that they need to have. Awesome. So Anne Pine, cultivate inner calm. So these are some of your pillars: cultivate inner calm, take back control, make empowered choices. Awesome. So, yep, cultivating inner calm is quite clear. Taking back control, making empowered choices. Great. So 3 things that they need to understand, embody, or take action on in order to move towards that place of inner calm and midlife magic. Midlife magic, love it. Okay, so are there any questions? Is this making sense so far? So this is step 2. Step 2 is all about understanding what are some of those core pillars, principles, or structures that people need to understand and grasp in order to work with you, in order to get that promise of your conversion event. So Anne's got some, Dorothy's got some. Let me know, Leslie or Karen, if you have any. Beautiful. All right, guys. So is this making sense? Give me a thumbs up if we're getting it so far. Okay, so that was step 2, which is know what those core teaching points are for your conversion event or the core pillars that you're going to be taking somebody through in your program. All right, so then we move on to step number 3. Okay, so this is where we can get stuck. This is where it can get tricky. Step 3 is to uncover what is the core problem my ideal client experiences when it comes to this topic. So I'll say that again. Step 3, what is the core problem my ideal client experiences when it comes to this topic? Now, a little bit of context here. I don't know if anyone saw the short video that I did last week, and it was titled, "Are you meeting your clients where you are at?" This is one of the core struggles and issues I see when people are trying to write promotional copy for their programs or events. And that is that you're writing the copy from your perspective, not your client's experience of the problem you are talking about. So remember, you are further along the journey than your client is. That is why you can help them. That is why you have a package or program or an offer that can help them. So you have a perspective of the problem from this angle, whereas they're still looking at the problem from this angle. So we need to speak to the problem as they are experiencing it. So this means, like, what are they saying in their head? What are they speaking out loud? What are they seeing in their life that they don't want? And what are their desires? So I'm getting ahead of myself, but this ideal client understanding is really crucial to being able to reverse engineer your content. Because if I'm sitting in front of you and you can't tell me what those problems are, then it's going to be really difficult to create the content that's going to speak to your ideal client, because we don't know what they're looking for. So this is part of everybody's job in business, is to get to know your ideal client as intimately as we can. And this takes time. It takes hours of working with people, asking them questions, putting yourself in their shoes. So no matter where you are, don't worry, because we're all on this journey of getting to know our ideal client as well as we possibly can, so that we can essentially put glasses on, like literally. These are the glasses of my ideal client. And when I wish to communicate with them in their language, I will put them on and go, how does my ideal client see this? Okay, I'm making a joke but it's also a visual reminder that actually that's what we need to do. Take the glasses off, because we don't want your perspective yet, we want theirs. Okay, I will get off my soapbox, but this is incredibly important. If you just took this one thing, it would honestly help you as you write compelling content for your business forevermore. Okay. Great, we've got some thumbs up, thumbs up. Let's see, Leslie, my course is called Sacred Beings, Your Body is Sacred. It's a course for children. So the pillars are understanding energy, emotion, the power of play, holding space for children. Great. That's wonderful, Leslie. They're all distinct. I can see what the core subject is. Beautiful, well done. Dorothy, thumbs up, and mine are there. And Pine cracking me up. Okay, so step 3. Now I have got a visual for you, because the next step, what is the core problem this is step 3. What is the core problem my people experience when it comes to this topic? Now I'm going to give you some examples based on my pillars. So this is how it works. I'm just going to put in what mine are so that you can see them in case you're a visual person and that's helpful. So for instance, that first one is message clarity. Oh, I'm going to back up because I forgot to say one of the simplest ways to begin diving into what is the experience of my ideal client when it comes to this, these core pillars, is to go, what is the opposite? Because as you can see there, message clarity, confidence, conviction, consistency, and congruence, they are all the things my client wants. That's what they desire. They might not use those words, but that is what they are looking to experience. So that's over here, okay? So then if we're reverse engineering and we're looking at it from their perspective, what are they experiencing? We can ask the question, well, what's the opposite of that? It's a very simple way to begin to shift our brain, because that's what we're trying to do, is essentially like, so, I'm doing, that perspective and that perspective, but we are literally trying to turn our mind around to their way of thinking. So if we look at that question, so what's the opposite? And of course, you can shift this around if it doesn't feel quite right, but it gets you into the ballpark. So as an example, the opposite for me of message conviction is, message clarity. So I've looked at the wrong one. The opposite of message clarity for me and my clients is message confusion. So I see that a lot. They are confused about their message. The opposite of message confidence is what I call message muddle. So I see it all the time. They're like, I don't know what to say, where to post it. Like, how is this relevant? It's just a muddle, a big muddle in their head about like, well, what am I doing? Where? Like, what's the, how does this work? Okay, so that's the message muddle. And because I have worked with people, I think I'm approaching 10 years now on this stuff, I have a lot of lived experience with my clients to know their journey and what they are experiencing. But of course, it took me a long time to put it into words, to see the patterns so that I could go, oh, yeah, you're here, right. So give yourself a break and be patient if you don't feel like you're there yet. Okay, so another example, the opposite of message conviction is message disbelief. So conviction is about believing in yourself, your message, and the results you can deliver. And the opposite of that is not believing, self-doubt, and imposter syndrome, right? So they are a couple of examples of how I begin to go, okay, so what is the opposite? What is my client experiencing in relation to this topic? So your go. So give me something. So for instance, Dorothy, and it could be, if it's not what they're experiencing, it's like experiencing can be, what do they think, or what do they believe, or what do they feel? As well as what are they seeing, hearing, saying. So there's lots of different ways we can explore their experience of the problem. So for instance, Leslie's got, one of hers is understanding energy. Dorothy. Okay, Dorothy, step 3, want to move away from drugs to treat everyday health issues. Want to move away from drugs to treat everyday health issues, want to not be confused by lots of choices. Great. So that's what they're experiencing. That's great, Dorothy. They're experiencing confusion around all of the choices that they have for, I will say, alternative therapies to support them with their healing. So that's wonderful. So they are feeling confused about all the choices. So that's what they are experiencing. Perfect, Dorothy. Great reverse engineering. All right, so Karen Hala. Express yourself through color course. The experience might come. Some core problems are they don't know what color suits them. They are worried what others think, worried about being exposed. What if others don't like who they really are? Worried about getting it wrong. Worried they have to throw all of their clothes away. Gee, that sounds very familiar, Karen. Karen and I were actually talking about that particular issue just the other day. Great. So you've got some good insight there into how are they experiencing the problem. Okay, so what we don't have there is what's the core topic. So pick one of those for me. We laugh. So pick one of those. Okay, so they don't know what color suits them. So then what's the teaching? So just so that you are very clear on how they kind of match up. All right, so Anne's got facing and embracing, inner harsh judgment, take back control, facing and embracing. Inner harsh judgment, as in that's what they're experiencing. Great. Take back control. They're feeling weak and vulnerable, empowered choices. They feel confused and overwhelmed. Inner calm, they feel angsty and on edge. Great. Okay, so that's how they are currently experiencing that particular topic. Awesome, Anne. That's good. So you can see where they're at when they first come to you. Awesome. So Leslie has said not grounded, not aware of their energy, uncontrollable emotions, forgotten how to play. Yes, creative play versus devices, being present with your children. Okay, so that's great. So it would be feeling like they feel like they're not present with their kids, of course, is what they're experiencing. So yes, and here's a good question, Leslie, just to ask yourself. So part of this, which I haven't said yet, is also we need to consider how would your ideal client say they are experiencing it. So that would just be the next tweak for what you've shared there, which is great. But it's like, would they say, oh, my emotions are all over the place. Like I just can't control my emotions anymore. Is that something they would say? In which case, on track, awesome. If not, what is the language they might use for that? I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because that's actually the next part, but just a little tweak. All right, Leslie, parents not present with their children. Exactly. Yeah, perfect. Okay. All right, so you're getting this really well. Awesome stuff. So this is step 3. What is the core problem my people are experiencing when it comes to this content, this topic that we are talking about? Okay. So I'm now going to, so that was step 3. I'm going to share something with you because it's going to be much easier for you to see it. And you can create, I'm going to share with you a table that I have created that's going to help you do the next part. So grab yourself some pen and paper. I'm not going to be sharing this with you, but you can write down the headings for yourself on a piece of paper. So let me just share screen. This one. All right, is that all coming through? Okay, so you should be able to see a table and there's a document here, Google Doc, how to reverse engineer your content. I can't see your questions right now because it's disappeared on me. So I have to stop share in order to see them. So we'll come back to that. So this is moving into step 4, which you can see here. So step 4 is all around joining the dots, as it says here on the screen, joining the dots between your outcome. So that was what we talked about in step 1, and your client's problem as they experience it, which is what we talked about in step 3. So this is the process of reverse engineering your content. Now, with this table below, if you have a look at this table, you'll be able to see some of the pieces that we have talked about so far. And so you can see here, we've got outcomes on the right-hand side. So that was the very first thing. So I talked about, as you can see, message clarity was one of my core content pieces I'm going to be sharing inside Own the Throne, because I know it's something that my ideal client needs to know, to understand in order to move towards owning the throne. So that is where we would put outcomes. So that's the end. When we're sharing content, when we're creating content for our launches, we need to know in every piece of content, whether it's an email or a post or a video, where are we taking our client? And that is the outcome. That's where we want to take them to. And I'll get into, how we do that in a second. So outcome was step 2. Then we looked at the problem as our client experiences it. That was step 3. So this is here. So message confusion, the problem, as we talked about. So now we need to join the dots between the problem, which is where they are at, to the outcome, which is where we want them to go and where they also want to go. So hopefully this is all. I will come back and check comments in a second. So hopefully this is all making sense though so far. Actually, I wonder if I could look at you guys, look it up on the phone. It would be much easier for me. Please hold, caller. Let me just check and find you all here, because that'll be easier and then I don't have to. I've got my very own group, but it's not showing me there. Oh, here we go. Am I live? Yes, I'm live. Hurrah. All right, if I go there. Mute. All right, yay. Okay, I think I can see your comments now there as well. Fabulous. So I can keep talking about this and see your comments at the same time. Hurrah. You can see the table. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, so the reason that we need to be able to join the dots is because that is what creates our story arc or our narrative journey to take somebody through on our content posts or our emails. That's what we're looking for. So we always start with, where are our clients at? So the problem as they experience it. And then at the end, we want to get to what is the outcome they're looking for. So let's look at this in detail on this little table right here. So let's talk about those three pieces, those three columns in the middle that we haven't touched on yet. So we know the problem, okay? We feel reasonably clear about that one. And then we want to talk about how are they experiencing this problem. So we've talked about this a lot already. Now, a really simple way to do this is to brain dump. You could just open a document and just go, okay, when my client is feeling confused about their message, what are they saying? So I've got examples here. My words feel fuzzy and I can't ground them. I don't know what I'm trying to say. What do I need to say? I don't know what to say. I get brain fog. I get brain fog when I sit down to write. I feel stuck with sharing what's relevant. So there are a couple of the examples, and I could keep going with different things. So that's a lot of what they're saying in their head and what they're saying out loud. So what are they, you know, when I'm feeling confused about my message, what am I experiencing? I'm experiencing sitting down in front of my computer with an intention to write a post or something, and I've got a blank screen. I just sit there and with my cursor blinking at me because nothing comes out of my head. So that's kind of like the brain fog one. So that's what we're looking for. So again, this is an opportunity to sit down, get your head into what is your ideal client experiencing. So that's that column. So then we're looking for what I call the real problem. So this is what you know is actually the issue at hand for this. So for me and my clients, when they're feeling confused about their message, it's usually one or all of those three things. They are afraid. So confusion becomes a self-preservation or a self-sabotage behavior. That's emotion. Impatience. So because they're impatient, they don't actually sit down to do the work in order to get that result of clarity. Or isolation. They're trying to do it all by themselves, getting stuck in their heads, getting more confused. But what they need is a sounding board or a friend or a mentor or something. So that's the problems that I know are causing that. So they're the underlying problems. And then we want, what is your solution in a nutshell? Now, the question I get asked here is like, Lynn, I don't want to give away the farm. I'm going to talk more about that inside my event. And I'm like, no problem. We want to give high level answers with your solution. You don't have to give the hows, you give the whats. So if I'm writing this email about message confusion, I eventually will tell somebody, listen, Here's what's missing. You need to sink into your heart, face your fears of being visible, and give yourself the space and time to write and share and write and share some more, so that you can allow that clarity, that crystal clarity, to emerge. Now, I'm not giving away any detail of how to do that, but I'm giving them the solution as I see it. So I'm hoping that that helps you with that. Are there any questions? Does that make sense? Oh, look at that. There are captions on my phone. All right, so I'm hoping that makes sense because there aren't any questions. And then, as we said, we know outcomes. I'm going to really briefly talk about tangible and desired outcomes, because knowing the difference is important. Hopefully some of you who've already worked with me know the answers to this question. So message clarity, so that is a tangible outcome. So that's something that someone would go, oh, I get it. I am clear about my message essence. I am clear about my biography. I am clear about what I do and how I help. So there are many specific things that I can support somebody to get clear on. So that's a tangible outcome, message clarity. Now, the other thing to recognize is desired outcomes, because if someone comes to me and they're like, oh, I just really wish I was clear about my message, there is a reason beyond that. There is a desired future outcome that they want as a result, or they believe they will receive as a result of that message clarity. So it could be, oh, if only, and it's like thinking about the question, if only, right? Oh, if only I had message clarity, I could attract all of the ideal clients I ever wanted. If only I had message clarity, I would be able to grow my income. If only I had message clarity, I would be more consistent in my marketing. And you can, what those are depends on your ideal client. But if you answer that question, if only I had this, then I could that. So hopefully that's helpful. Give me a thumbs up if it is. Are we doing okay here? And Pine, thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So this is the nuts and bolts of reverse engineering any content that's going to naturally lead into and entice your readers into your conversion events or programs. Why? Because you are speaking to the problem they are experiencing. You are opening the gap, which is the realization of the real problem, because they think it's something else. Like, hands down, 95% of my people think the solution to message confusion is just sitting down and figuring out the right words. Never is. 95% of the time, it isn't, because that's not what's causing the confusion. But they didn't know that. Obviously, people come into my world, I bang on about it often enough, so hopefully they get the point. But that's something I introduce because I know the real problem. And then I share the solution. So this is a classic technique with a lot of content. So I meet you where you're at. I explore how you are experiencing this problem, which opens empathy and understanding and trust and connection. Then I let you know, but actually that's not really what's going on here. Here's the real problem. I'm showing myself as the expert, as having a better understanding of the problem than they do, which is why someone wants to come and join you and find out more stuff. I share a tidbit of my solution. Hey, this is actually what you need to be doing. You need to be sinking into your heart, not writing from your head, but actually going, what does my heart want to say? So that you are showing up on a different energetic level and attracting those clients who resonate, not just with your words, but with your energy. Huzzah for making things up on the spot. So, and then of course, if people respond to my message, my unique message, my personal take on this idea of writing copy for your business, which a bazillion people are talking about, then I'm sharing an invitation. Hey, if you like how I'm talking about this, if this resonates with you, come on down to the Own the Throne Challenge, which is running next week, where I'm going to dive even deeper into this topic and help you get a true understanding of what it takes to get the message clarity you are looking for. Okay, so I dropped in that final piece there, message clarity, because that's then how we join the dots. And then if we wanted to finish this off and like, look, and just for a second, have a think about what would message clarity do for you? Would it help you attract more clients? Would it allow you to grow your business and reach your business goals in a way that feels easy and congruent, etc.? I won't keep going on, but it's a conversation. So this is, as I said, a story arc. It's a narrative journey through your content. We start with where your client is at. We move into how are they experiencing their problem, opening that empathy and that connection. Then we move into that real problem. So what do you know is the real problem underneath this experience that they are having that they don't want? What is your solution? Which then leads naturally into the invitation. And then we can actually talk about, come along to my training, my workshop, my webinar, and discover how connecting into your heart can support you to more desired outcomes. All right, so I'm just going to pause for a second and come back and see if there are any questions. Is this making sense, guys? Are you seeing how we are turning this into, so this is a structure that you could use with just about every piece of content that you write in relation to the thing that you are promoting. And hopefully hopefully I'm explaining it so that you can see the narrative arc that you're taking them on. So let me know. Do you have any questions about this? So we're at 47. I think I've got 2 more things to talk to you about. So please let me know. This all makes perfect sense. Thank you, Karen, Leslie Dixon. Yes, makes sense. Awesome. Okay, great. I'm glad that I have explained that well enough. All right. So that is how we take those first steps and actually create our content, is using this framework. And that, my friends, is how we reverse engineer our content. Now, I am going to, that was all for me. Okay, so step 5. Yeah, beautiful. So Anne says, so in the sentence, if only I had this, I could do that, where the this is the tangible benefit and the that is the desired outcome. Perfect, Anne, that is exactly correct. If I had this, I could then that. This is the tangible immediate outcome. So it's like the skill or the knowledge or the understanding you receive. And then that allows you to your desired outcome, have a more intimate relationship, grow your business to 10K months, etc., whatever that is. Perfect. Dorothy, that's really great. Makes perfect sense. It's getting into the head of the client, which makes the difference. 100%. If you could take away anything, that is the thing I'd love for everybody to really take on board from this training, because it is the key. Honestly, it is a skill being able to get into the mind, emotions, and experience of your ideal client. It is like ninja tactics, because literally when you can sink into their experience, there's almost nothing you can't write because you're already in their head. It's really the juice that helps you write compelling content. All right. So if you need to go, I really understand that. I did have an awesome offer. I'm going to share that before I go into the headline hacks in case anybody has to go. So I'm doing a really cool challenge this week, which is I have a money goal that I want to hit in 7 days. So I have this wonderful 90-minute session called Message Magic. And if you want me to support you to reverse engineer your content for your next launch or your workshop, you could sit with me for 90 minutes and we could nut some of this out together. Now, if that feels really cool to you, then this will be even better. That session, which is normally, I think, £255, you can get for 50% off for the next 7 days. So you need to book, pay for it, and take it within the next month, but it's 50% off. So that's $127.50-ish. So if that's something you want to have more information about, send me a DM. I've got a coupon code to use in the links where you can use it. And if you have any questions, also let me know. So that's the offer, my 90-minute message magic session where we could do this together and have your content for your next launch planned out into detail. Then let me know. It's a 50% off for 1 week only. 1 week only. There's a song in there somewhere. All right, back to our scheduled program. Step 5 is turning your problems into headlines. Now, this is the very final step in the process, because this is the piece where we want to go, okay, what am I going to say that's going to get somebody to actually open my content, my email, watch my video, or read past the first line if I'm doing a post. And there are a couple of different headline hacks that we can use. I've only written 2 in here, so it's 2 headline hacks tonight. So the first one, and we've already done some of the groundwork for this. So headline hack number 1 is write a headline like they would say their problem. Now, I want you to recognize that there are a bazillion different angles that you can write headlines from. So have a play, try different ones. So underneath here, you can see I have written a whole bunch all around the same topic. And at the end, I've put in brackets the different angle. So, do you get brain fog? Bloody hell. Do you get brain fog when you sit down to write your content? So that's something that they're experiencing. Are you tired of trying but failing to write compelling content? That's about their emotion. I'm just tired and frustrated. I didn't put frustrated in there. How to turn your message muddle into message clarity. So that is a solution-focused headline. If your message isn't attracting your ideal clients, read this. That's kind of like a question. That's like if your message, yes, my message isn't, I better open the email. And then that last one there, content not getting the engagement you want, here's why. So that's their lived experience. So as you can see, there are so many different angles, but what I wanted to point out here is these are all just about all using language that I have heard my ideal client say, or phrases of the language I know that they use. So that's one of the simplest ways is if you've got to that point where you're writing your headline, it's like, how would my ideal client say it? As a question, as a challenge, as a solution focus, what do they want? So this is one of the core headline hacks, is to not write it like a sentence, but write it like a sentence, but write it in the way they would speak it or think it. Okay. All right, just checking. Are there any fab info? Got to go for a client now. Bye, Anne. Thanks for joining us. Okay, Anne's off. And so that headline hack number 2, actually, I can probably stop sharing. You don't need to see that. Headline hack number 2 is, are we back? Yes. Okay, great. No, we're all here. Great. So that headline hack number 2 is to go for intrigue, to pick out something that is either surprising or contradictory and use it as part of the headline. So the way to think about this is take something like message clarity and go, what are the misconceptions my client has about that? So for instance, a headline I have used is why message clarity has nothing to do with the words you write. So I touched on this before because I know that that's what they think. but I know that that's most of the time incorrect. So that is my point of surprise and contradiction, because they will see that and go, what do you mean it's got nothing to do with the words I write? I thought it had everything to do with the words I write. Oh gosh, what am I missing? Better click so I can find out more. So that's what we're looking to do with an intrigue or a surprise or a contradictory headline. So another one I had written down there was, if you know, do you want to create compelling content? ? Stop writing with your head. Most people will be like, what do you mean stop writing with my head? I thought that's what I was supposed to use. I don't understand. Okay, click, let me find out more information. So, and it's finding those points of surprise, and as I said, misconceptions are a big thing. And that's the one I probably would use the most. I'm like, okay, what do they think about this that I know is not accurate, or not accurate, or a misconception. So they are 2 simple headline hacks. I could give you a bazillion more, but it would just overwhelm you. And my last piece on headlines is they don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be like the most amazing thing ever, because remember that one email does not make or break your campaign. Your campaign is all about a range of content over a period of time with different and usually on different platforms. So my launches, I use emails, social media, video, written content, etc. So just remember that also is like, we want to stay focused on, you know what, I think this is good enough. We don't want to get stuck in perfection. But that's something I harp on about another time, so I won't do that today. And we have touched on, the other thing I was going to talk about in this training was, where do people get stuck? And the 2 places which we have covered, just so that it's clear for you, is they get stuck because they don't know intimately what the problem is, or specifically how their ideal client is experiencing it. So I have already harped on about that. Ideal client, understanding them intimately, getting into their head is the secret to writing awesome, compelling content. So that's the place they get stuck. The solution: have conversations, actually do research, look at your past clients. What were the commonalities? What were the patterns that you noticed? What were the things that they said often? And all of that, gather it together in a single document that is the home of your soul client deep dive. That's something I do in all of my programs because it is so essential. And the other place people get stuck is with headline writing. So I've given you 2 headline hacks. The headline's going to be some version of the problem, generally speaking. And the simplest way to go about it is, how would your client be thinking about this or speaking about it, that they would read this and go, oh, yeah, that's me. So that's what we're looking for. As much as you can, use their language, or try to intrigue their mind with contradiction or surprising juxtapositions, which is, for some of the ones that, you know, why message clarity has nothing to do with the words that you write. Okay, so to recap for everybody, this was how to reverse engineer your content. So we've talked about step 1, which is deciding on your conversion event or the program or package you're going to be offering into. Step 2 is understanding what are those 3 to 5 core topics or pillars of either your event that you're going to be teaching inside your event, or that you're sharing inside your program. Number 3, what is the problem that your client is experiencing with that topic? And a really simple question is to ask, what is the opposite of this topic? Where do they begin? How are they experiencing it? So that was step number 3. Step number 4 was beginning to join the dots, which is where we used that template in order to help actually create that narrative arc that you would use inside your emails or your posts or your videos. So that goes from problem talks about their experience, opens up the problem that you know it actually is. It talks high-level solution. Then there's an invitation into your event or program because it relates to the topic that you've been talking about. As I said, on day one, this is what we talk about inside Own the Throne, because when you know this, it allows you to that, okay? So that's how we join the dots to create our launch content. And then that final piece, step 5, is coming up with headlines that are going to either directly relate to your ideal client because it's using language that they resonate with, or it's going to be intriguing or and we do that through contradiction or surprise, so that they're like, oh, what do you mean it's not that? Oh, okay, I better find out some more information. So that wraps up our training today. As I said, this can be tricky, and I've given you the framework if you want to go away and have a try. But if you really would like my support, this is something I do day in, day out. It would be my pleasure to help you with this. I offer a 90-minute message magic session. It's normally £255 for 90 minutes. It's currently on at 50% off. If you would like to know more information or you want to book this call with me, send me a DM or put in a comment magic below and I will send you more information. So I really hope this has been valuable for you today. Thanks everyone for joining me. I love sharing and engaging and interacting with you in this way. Have a beautiful day or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. If you have left any comments, or in the comment box, I will come back around after I have pressed the off button and make sure that I respond. So actually I can just do that right now. Thank you, Lynn. You are amazing. It's been really helpful. Hurrah! I'm so glad. Thank you, Leslie, for joining. Thanks, Lynn. Fab info. Got to go now. Awesome. All right, my friends, have a beautiful evening and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Maybe even at Own the Throne next month. All right, guys. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me.